Hi, Alex here from Rebeloper.com and welcome back to another episode of all you have to know about Firebase Authentication. And in this one, we are going to finally log in, sign in with Facebook. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, in the latest video, I have showed you how you can sign out of Firebase. And today we are going to add a Facebook login button to our scene so we may sign up with Facebook. So for that, we are going to use, besides everything else, the native Facebook app. So to help us, if the user has the native Facebook app installed to their device, then it will be much easier. Don't worry, if not, then your user will be prompted to sign in with Facebook. So for that, I will use my iPhone 10 here and I will show you the examples through it inside my QuickTime movie recording here. So let me just show you what we are going to build out here. So here we have our test Firebase Authentication project, and I will just select my phone and build and run. Let me just open this up and see how the finished project will look like. Okay, let's wait for that. Build has succeeded and we are, well, let me just sign out for now. So we are going to be presented with this login with Facebook button, and let me just tap on that. And as a side note, you see that this is not the default login with Facebook button that is provided by the Facebook API, well, the SDK. This is a custom login with Facebook, and I have struggled finding a custom implementation of the login with Facebook button. So here you go, you get this for free. Just continue watching. So I will tap on continue because we will allow to use facebook.com to sign in. So let's tap on that and we will confirm our login. Well, maybe first of all, when we launch this, you will be prompted to allow, because as you can see, you previously logged in to test Firebase Authentication with Facebook. Would you like to continue? I will tap on continue. We will see another one later on. So we are signed in. You just saw the heart spinning saying it is signing in with Facebook, and here we will be presented with the home, and then we can choose to sign out in the profile, a user profile scene. So that is what we are going to build out today. So let's get started, and I will just close this off and minimize it. And let me just go back to our original Firebase Authentication that you have built if you followed along these tutorials. So what do we need? First of all, let us just go into Google Chrome and go into our firebase.google.com and the Firebase home. And here, let me just go into console. And let's just open up our Firebase Authentication app here. And let's go to Authentication. And as you can see here, we have a lot of anonymous sign-ins that we made earlier in the previous video. So we want to go into our sign-in method and allow our sign-in provider as Facebook. So let's go into this one, and let me just make this a little so you may see it. Here you just need to tap on enable, and as you can see, we need to provide an app ID and an app secret. And of course we need to do something with auth redirect URI, but we will talk about that just in a little bit. So what is this app ID and app secret? Well, you need to create a Facebook app inside your developer portal, well, your Facebook developer portal. So let me just go step by step. So I will just again go to firebase.google.com and go to Docs and select iOS. And let me just scroll down here and select authentication and Facebook login. So we may take this step by step. So before you begin here, you had to add your Firebase to your iOS project. You already done that. We need to add it with Firebase Auth. We have done that. So next up, if you haven't yet connected your app to your Firebase project, do so from the Firebase console. Now we need to do that here. So we are in this phase. And the next up, on the Facebook for Developers side, get the app ID and app secret for your app. So let's go to our Facebook for Developers site. Let's open it up in a new tab. And here, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and sign up for Facebook for Developers and log in. And if you hover over to My Apps, you will see that here we have we can add a new app. So let's add a new app now. And the display name will be, of course, Authentication. I have spelled that correctly. Now let's create that app with create app ID. And here is our little security check. Let's type that in. We have created our Firebase Authentication Facebook app. And now let's go into Settings and Basic. Here we will grab our app ID and app secret. And let me just copy out this app ID and go back to our dashboard, our Firebase dashboard, and paste that in there. And now, as you can see here, we have our app secret. It is not shown, so we need to show it. Let's add in our password, and I will just blur this out. Okay, let's submit it. And here we have our app secret. So you may take a look at this app secret. I will reset it anyway after we have completed, so you don't have access to it. So I just copy this out and paste it in there. Of course, make sure you do not share your app ID or app secret to others, as I did, or maybe reset it later. Okay, we have added our app ID, we have added our app secret, and now to complete the setup, add this OAuth redirect URI to your Facebook app configuration. And let me just copy this out. And where do we need to add that? Well, first of all, we need to add a product. It says here products. We need to add the Facebook login product to our app. So the easiest thing to do is go to our dashboard and just scroll down if you don't see this Facebook login, and let's set up. Okay, and now you will see that under products a new tab has appeared, Facebook login. So I will just select iOS, and it takes you through the steps that you need to do. If you have moved or maybe changed tabs, go ahead and select the quick start. Okay, now we want to add through CocoaPods the Facebook SDK FB SDK login kit. Well, this is kind of a redundant documentation. What you really want to add is the Facebook login. So let me just show you how my pod file looks inside my test Firebase. So here we have Facebook core and Facebook login. We will need Facebook core later on down the series because we want to grab our profile picture and our name and maybe the email of our user. So I will just simply copy this out, these two pods, and add them to our current pod file. So here we go. We have added Facebook core and Facebook login. Okay, next up is to open up Terminal and navigate to your project's base folder, and this is the root folder. So I will just cd and space, type in cd space and drag and drop your Firebase Authentication folder. Pretty straightforward, you have seen numerous times if you are watching my channel, so go ahead and subscribe. Okay, next up is to type in pod install. So we may install these new Facebook Core and Facebook Login, and as you can see, FB SDK Core Kit and FB SDK Login Kit have also been installed because Facebook Core and Facebook Login are not already on version 1. As you can see, currently they are on version 0.3.0. Maybe FB SDK Core Kit and Login Kit will be removed in favor of Facebook Core and Facebook Login when they are on version 1. You will see when we get there. Okay, now that we have done installing Facebook Login Kit and Facebook Core through CocoaPods, let us just click on next and see what we need to do in order to set up our Facebook login in the Facebook dashboard. Next up is our bundle ID. So let's go and grab our bundle ID from our target general bundle identifier. Just simply copy and paste it in there. Okay, click near it and of course click on save. Now let us just continue. Let's enable single sign-on. Well, that is great because this way we can use the Facebook app if there is a Facebook app installed on the user's device. So we can use that in order to smooth the flow of the login. Okay, let's click on save. Well, basically the user will not be prompted to add in the email and the password. So pretty straightforward that we do want to enable single sign-on. Next up is to configure our info.plist file, and we need to add 2 chunks of code, and this will be different from mine because here we have our bundle. Well, it has the app ID inside it. So go ahead and click on copy code, and let's go back to Xcode and find our info.plist file and right click on it and open as source code. So you want to open it as a source code, so you may just simply go ahead and paste it in there, and I will just paste it after the dictionary, well, at the beginning of the dictionary where it starts. I just simply paste that in there. There you have it. Next up is the second chunk of code, which enables login, share, app invites. Well, basically we want to share, enable login, so we want to copy that out too and add it well below this chunk of code. Okay, we have added these two, so let's click on next. Okay, and now connect the app delegate. Well, here we have some Objective-C code, and it's pretty shame on Facebook that that doesn't have the option to have the Swift versions. Well, on the documentation, sometimes they do have Swift, sometimes they don't. Here they don't have just yet, so I will just show you what you need to add here. So we want to import the core kit, so Facebook Core. I will just go into my app delegate, and well, maybe for a start, let's hit Command B to build this all out, so Xcode may realize the new pods that it has been installed. And I will just go ahead and update to recommended settings. If this pops up, go ahead and do update. Okay, now that we have built successfully, we are going to go into app delegate and import Firebase Core. So import and core, and for some reason it strikes that out. Well, maybe we don't need to because Firebase is already added there. Let's see how it goes along. If not, we will come back here. Okay, next up is that we need to add this FB SDK application delegate shared application did finish launching with options into our application did finish launching with options function. So let me show you how the Swift a code looks like. So it is pretty easy. FB SDK application delegate shared instance application, and I can see that here we have our FB SDK core kit, so I will just import that just to be sure. Okay, let's minimize this and let us just start typing away. So Firebase app dot shared, and maybe I will use the old-fashioned way, that application delegate. Let me just see if this is available. Firebase application delegate. No, so it seems that this goes with the old syntax. So we need to import FB SDK core kit, and let's build that so we may see that everything works fine. So now let's start typing FB SDK app, and we want to type in application delegate dot shared instance dot, and we will choose this application did finish launching with option, and for the application we will choose application, and did finish with options we will choose launch options. Good stuff. Now that is what you need to add here. Okay, maybe this will change when the SDK is updated. Okay, next up is that we want to add this application open URL with options. Okay, and of course, if you don't have that available, if you are using iOS 10 and above, then, well, below, then you need to add this second one with this source application and annotation. We are using iOS 11, so we want this. So I just simply take a look at the Swift version here in our test Firebase Authentication, and it is this one. So I just copy and paste it in there. Go ahead and take a look at it inside the GitHub repo, because of course this is available on my GitHub site, GitHub repositories. So that is that, and let's click on next. We have added all of these too. So next up we want to add the Facebook login button. Okay, we are not going to use, of course, this Objective-C one, so let us just go through next, and here we want to check the current login status, which we already will check or already do check with Firebase, so no need for this one. And of course, we want to add our login permissions, which we will do shortly when we create our button. So let's click on next, and we are done with our quick start. Let's go back to our Facebook login and go to settings. And once we are done with this, let's finally complete the circle and go to your redirect URI, and let's copy this out and add this to our valid auth redirect URIs, and finally click on save changes. Okay, don't worry about this warning. It basically says you really need to add this auth, and that is the only auth that Facebook will use. Okay, now let's go and create our Facebook button. Great, now that we have added and saved the changes in our Facebook dashboard, let's go back to our Firebase dashboard, and before we do that login button, let's hit on save. And as you can see, Facebook has been enabled. Okay, pretty good stuff. Let's go to our docs and see if we do need anything else. Well, we have added our URI, so let's see. Yeah, it says that we need to create our login button, we need to log in, and of course we need to add our Facebook credential, but we will talk about that in just a moment. So no need to go as this documentation says, because we are going to create custom login button, not this FBSDK login button. Okay, so let's go back into our project and hit Command B to see that everything works as it should. And now we are going to create our login button. So go to your web controller, and here you see that we already have a sign in anonymously button. So I will just simply copy this out and create a new button down below here. Let me just have some space here so you may see, and simply paste that in there. And let's rename this. Okay, rather yet, let's type in here login with Facebook. And what else do we want to have? Yeah, well, the button title color is okay, but the button background color is not okay. So I just want to create a new one, and I will just go and jump to this definition and create it here in my services file. Okay, and let me just grab this color from my test project. So it is service, and this is it. This is a pretty blue, well, Facebook-ish blue. Okay, and let me just copy this out and add it to our sign-in with Facebook with 1, 2 O's, not 3. Okay, and here we have it. And button layer mask to bounce to is set to true, and the corner radius is of course there. Next up is I want to change this handle sign in anonymously button tab selector. So I will just type in here sign in with Facebook. Okay, let me just copy this out and create a new Objective-C function here that is name handle sign in with Facebook button tab. Okay, next up is I want to add it to our view. So view, add subview and sign in with Facebook button, and let me add here a space. And next up I want to anchor it to the bottom of our sign in anonymously button. So Facebook sign in with Facebook button dot anchor, and let's choose this long one. Dot anchor will be our sign in anonymously buttons bottom anchor, as I have told you previously. The left anchor is the views safe area guide layout guides left anchor. As usual, the bottom will be nil because we don't want to anchor it to anything, because we are going to add in more buttons. The right anchor, of course, our views dot safe area layout guides right anchor. And the top constant will be 60 because I want to 60 points between these two buttons. Left constant 16 again, bottom constant 0 and right constant 60 with 0, and the height constant again 50, the same as the height constant for the sign in anonymously button. So let's go ahead and let me just show you how this looks. So here's the QuickTime player, and let's build and run. Let's see how our project goes at this stage. Okay, here we have it, login with Facebook, and of course nothing happens if we try to tap on it. Okay, next up I want to add an image to it. I want to add a Facebook logo, well, the F here as an image. Okay, let us just go and fetch our image, what I want to add here, and oh, not double tap on that, just simple tap. Okay, and I have already prepared this in our resources, and here we have our Facebook button. Okay, next up is to add this to our Facebook sign in with Facebook button. And to do that, let me just take out here some space. We want to add a button and set image, and the image will be our Facebook button, and for the state normal. Okay, now of course, what else do we want to have here? Well, set our buttons aspect mode, or rather yet scale aspect fit. Let me just take this out, and so you may see how this looks without that content mode. Here, there it is. It is pretty good. Let me just get rid of that. It's pretty good, but still I want to, because this is really a really good image, but if it would have been larger or maybe smaller, then you really wanted to add content mode. So let me just uncomment that. And as you can see, this Facebook image has a bluish color to it. So I want to change it to white. And for that, first of all, we need to set with rendering mode and render as template. So always template. And next up, we want to set our buttons tint color to, let's say, dot white, because I want to set it to white. Let's build and run again and see how this looks. And this should look pretty good. And indeed, it does look fantastic. So you can customize your sign in with Facebook button to your liking. Next up is that I want to add I want to create our handle sign in with Facebook button tab. So this is where you want to actually sign in with Facebook. Now, first thing you want to do is import Firebase core and Facebook core and Facebook login. So let's do that now. Facebook core and import Facebook login. Okay, next up we want to grab our login manager. So let's create a new constant here. Let login manager equals a login manager. Okay, and now we want to log in. So login manager, log in, and we want to choose this with the read permissions. Okay, now let's add our read permissions. Well, we want our public profile and our email, the user's public profile and the user's email. So we will add here an array, and first up is our public profile, add a comma there, and email. Okay, the view controller is ourself, of course. And now in the completion, here we have our result. And what we want to do now is check for the result. So switch result. And now we want to have some cases, because this has a case of .success, and here we have our granted permissions and so on. The other one, let's add here case dot, and let's choose this failed, and we have here an error, and the last is cancelled. Okay, so these are the three cases that a result may give you. So let's take a look at let's add here what we want. First of all, with the constant, and let's print out here for now cancelled. We will take greater care with these errors and so on later on. And here I just create our error. And for this one, let me add that. For this one, I will print out the error. Okay, And finally, let's take a look at the success version. So when we have a success result, then we need to go ahead and say log in into Firebase. So for now, let us just set underscores for all of these three parameters because we don't need them. And now let's go ahead and sign into Firebase. And I will create this just a little down here. So file private func sign into Firebase. Let me just take care of this. Let's add a self here. So how do we sign in into Firebase? Where auth and sign in, and we want it with an auth credential. So what is an auth credential? So let credential equals and sk, or rather yet fb will be a Facebook auth provider. It will be a credential with access token. So now we want to get this access token string, and let me just create it here. Let access token string, and this will be our access token dot current dot and authentication token. So let me just rename this. Okay, and I will just add this here and the credential there. And here we have our completion handler. We are getting back a user and an error. Okay, first of all, we need to check for the error. But before we do that, let's unwrap this. Now here, let us just check for the error. Then we are just simply going to print out the error and we are going to return. Now, if we don't have any error, then let's just print out that is it, I believe. So let us just try to build and run this and see what happens. Okay, let's see now. We are building. Let's tap on login with Facebook. Let's continue. Continue as Alex. And we have successfully logged into Facebook. Here is the log. Okay, that is it. We have successfully logged into Facebook. Now we have to sign into... Oh, no, we have successfully logged into Facebook, not this one. We want to have this here, this print statement, sorry. We want to add this here. And inside here, we want to have another print statement, and that is okay, let's take a look at the dashboard and let's take a look at users, and here I am with Firebase. Good stuff. Okay, so one final thing I want to add here is a HUD. So let us just add a HUD when the login button is tapped. So I will just copy and paste from the anonymous button tapped. So here it is, and I will just add it here, and let's type in here logging. So we have started that, and next we want to dismiss the HUD when we are logged in. So this is where it needs to be dismissed. Well, animated true. Well, I just choose another one, dismiss. But there are some errors that might occur, and we want to let the user know when those errors come. And the first one is when, let's say, we canceled out of signing in into Facebook. So when we do that, besides the print statement, we want to, well, change the text of the HUD. So self. Yes, that is it. And of course, we want to dismiss it. So self. Now let us just try this out. Okay, here we go. Let me just show you here in QuickTime. Oh, where did I put that? Oh, I put it into the variable. Excuse me. Let's put it before we create the login manager. So let's build and run again and see how that login with Facebook appears only when I tap on the sign in with Facebook. So here we go. Let's hit continue. And now I will just cancel out. And as usual, the HUD dismissed, but I want to dismiss it with a delay. So dismiss after delay and 3 seconds, animated true. Okay, let's build and run again. Okay, let's tap on it, let's continue, and now let's cancel it. So here you can see it is canceling, so it says cancelled. Good stuff. Now, what else do we want to create? Well, I have created a service extension, and I will just simply use that. Here it is. Let me just copy this out, and I will guide you through the code in just a minute. So we are taking a HUD element, and we are going to dismiss it with a text and a detailed text and with a time interval. Of course, we need to import here JG progress HUD. So we are going to get a text label and a detailed label text, and we are going to dismiss it after the delay. Now let's go back to the console, and here we are just going to call upon service dot dismiss. Let me just build and run with the command B so we get the completion handler. So dismiss HUD, and here I will type in self.HUD and our text, and I will just simply go on into my test here, and I will just take that, copy it in. So we want to have the text as error and the cancelled getting Facebook user. Okay, let's go ahead and build and run again and see how that looks. And after that, I'm just simply going to copy and paste all of the error messages that I want to show. So login, let's hit continue. Let's cancel it. So here it is, error cancelled getting Facebook user. Okay, and now I will just copy and paste each and every, well, let me just choose by in this order. So here we have service dismiss when we are going to fail, and here it is when we are failing. Okay, next up, and let's just see what else is there. Fail to create Firebase user, and that is a sign up error. And I believe that is it for today. Yes, all the error messages are sent, sign up error, successfully authenticated, and we are dismissing it. Good stuff. Now, we have added Facebook login into our Firebase Authentication example app, and we are dismissing our welcome controller as usual when we have successfully authenticated not just in Facebook but in Firebase also. Now, in the next lesson, we are going to go even further. We are going to create our profile. We are going to then fetch our profile image, name, and email address from Facebook, and we are going to display it under the user profile view. Pretty good stuff coming up in the next video, so I hope you see you in that one. If you like this one, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and as usual, go ahead and visit our site rebeloper.com, and I will see you in the next one.